Thank you very much for your testimony. Now we will have questions of the witnesses with a 5-minute round from the panel. Ms. Hunter, first question for you. You heard Senator Daines at the beginning talk about the importance of local support for these kinds of designations. And you mentioned this in your testimony, but could you elaborate a bit on the outreach that was done along the river in terms of both the communities and private landowners on the York River?
Yes, thank you. I'd be happy to. That was a goal of the York River Study Committee, was to engage the community throughout this process. We held over 60 public meetings throughout our process. We held a number of watershed events, including watershed walks along the river, so we could discuss different river resources. We attended any public event we were able to, including local fairs, festivals, and meetings of the Rotary and other civic groups. We had several mailings that went to all the river landowners to inform them of upcoming meetings and our activities. We had several projects that were conducted in the field, and we invited citizen scientists to take part in those projects so that they could understand the resources and provide feedback to us and what was valuable to them.
And as I understand it, there were several referenda in 2 of the towns that were overwhelmingly positive. Is that correct?
That's correct. Part of the demonstration of suitability for a partnership designation includes town votes to endorse designation, as well as accept our locally developed stewardship plan. The towns of York and Elliott had warrant articles on the ballot in November 2018. And the towns of Kittery and South Berwick had council votes on a resolution. And in the towns of York and Elliott, the measures were overwhelmingly approved by voters, by 63% in one town and 73% in another town. In the case of the council votes, they were all unanimous in support of designation.
Thank you. Mr. Caldwell, you testified that the department is withholding its endorsement of this bill pending the final report. I would point out that what we thought was the final report was submitted in March of 2020, 14 months ago. Eisenhower retook Europe in 11 months. Define near future. You testified we would get the final report in the near future.
Senator King, thank you very much. And I certainly want to compliment the local interest of the York River study and the work of partners like Ms. Hunter. It's what makes a difference all across the country. The department is in its final stages of review. We expect departmental action as very quickly, imminently, and we are certainly monitoring its progress through the review process.
Well, this committee will be considering these bills in the immediate future in terms of the markup. So I would hope that the department, you've said near future, imminently, and quickly. So I hope we're measuring that in weeks and not months. I urge you to get this material to us because we want to have the input of the department when we act on this bill.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The terrorism memorial, you heard the moving testimony of the 2 witnesses earlier, and the issue seems to not be, should there be a memorial, but whether it should be on the mall. Could you expand upon the policy decision in terms of future memorials on the mall, and is that, give us some rationale for that decision?
Yes, Senator, and certainly the Department of Interior supports veterans of all wars. And this certainly isn't about the act of remembrance. It is about the S-535 would allow the Global War of Terrorism Memorial to be located in the area identified as the Reserve under the Commemorative Works Act of 1986. Congress amended that act in 2003, establishing the Reserve and declaring it a complete work of civic art, where the citing of new commemorative work is prohibited. So since the establishment of the Reserve, no new memorials have been placed on the National Mall. Only improvements to existing memorials, such as plaques, have been granted.
So this was a congressional decision, and as Congressman Golden testified, Congress could change that designation if they chose. Is the concern is that the mall is getting crowded? Is that what the issue is?
I think in terms of the congressional action in 2003, after receiving several requests for the placement of memorials on the National Mall at that time, Congress recognized the need to preserve the L'Enfant plan, the McMillan plan of the National Mall for the capital city, and prevent the mall area from being overbuilt. So it addressed this need by creating a new reserve area or a no-build zone on the National Mall. And in 2003, Congress amended the Commemorative Works Act to prohibit the establishment of new memorials in the reserve.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Senator.
Dane.